Good morning, you guys, it's Karen, and I thought I would come and do a keto favourites. This is not a keto favourite meals. This is, I guess you could say, my Amazon favourites. So I might call it my Amazon keto favourites or something like that. Keto Amazon favourites. But these are things that just keep me sane throughout this way of eating. And what I mean by that is they replace items that I had before. So there's a lot of snacky things here. There's some bread, just things that make life a little bit more normal and I don't feel hard done by, if that makes sense. The first thing I don't have, but it's my waffle maker or chaffle maker if you are on keto. It's something I've never owned before doing keto, and I really enjoy it. Now, I bought a really cheap small one, and then I bought the other one that you can close and twist, and the one that I used in the video of me making a chaffle. And I have to say, I find they come out tastier in the smaller one, the smaller, cheaper one. I don't know whether that's just because I was using butter on that one. I'm going to test it out this week. I'm going to put my big one away and use the smaller one. I'm still glad I've got two, because at some point I'm going to make them for dinner, and I can then make some for Kev and I, because they'd be too small for two people. But that little one is absolutely perfect. So I will link that for you if you are thinking of buying one and giving it a try, because it's absolutely fine. And I haven't found that, you know, being able to turn it over and all of that hasn't done anything different. Yeah, and it was double the price. The first thing I'm going to talk about is chocolate. You wouldn't think that you could eat chocolate on a keto diet, but you can. Not very much, but I don't need very much, which is not something I normally say. This one is my favourite. This is the Green and Black's Velvet Edition Dark Chocolate Mint. I can have one of these, one of their squares, and what I do is I break this into 4 pieces, and then I just sit and suck on each piece, and it kind of melts in the mouth, and it is beautiful. And that is 3 grams of carbs. So, you know, if you really want chocolate, that's something that you can fit into your day. And if you don't like the mint one, this is the other one I have, the 70% by Green and Black's. And they come in smaller chunks, so you can have 3 of those, and that's 3 carbs. So 1 carb per square of chocolate. And again, I just break them into pieces and let them melt in my mouth, and they're beautiful. So I love that, because these have been sitting, I've got them in a little drawer in here so that they're not sort of in my view all the time, but occasionally I really feel like just a little something sweet with my cup of tea, and I'll have, you know, 1 or 2 squares of this or one of these broken into 4. And that's me satisfied, you know? So love that chocolate is still an option. Let me show you another thing that is kind of along the same theme, in that it's something sweet. These are called chocolate protein bites. And I bought a selection pack. There's another one that goes in this that's spicy. These 3, and I've eaten this packet over 2 days actually. But this whole packet, where's my glasses? Bag is 3 grams of carbs, so the same as just having one little square, and I think there's 30 grams in here. Yeah, you can see it's quite substantial, and this is something that I would like take in my bag if I was going somewhere for the day and knew that I'd want to have something sweet. Or I just had, like I said, I ate this over a couple of days. It just was like, oh, I really fancy something sweet, and I just had a little teaspoonful of these, and they're absolutely delicious, really delicious. So 3 carbs per bag, really good. I've ordered some more of these ones, these are the dark chocolate. I think the white chocolate is a bit higher, 3.4 grams of carbs. Next is chewing gum, and this is the Peppermint Dental Chewing Gum by Peppersmith. I am a real gum girl. I usually chew gum all day long. I think it's because my medication, there's several medications I'm on that really dry out my mouth, amitriptyline and codeine. Just off the top of my head, both of those will make your mouth dry. So I'm either drinking flavoured water, chewing gum, or sucking on mints. And it's quite hard to find ones that fit in with the keto way of eating, and actually that will be on my keto mistakes I've made. But this one is recommended because I don't fully understand it, but it's something about, although they've got carbs in them, they don't affect your blood sugar as much, and so they don't count as much. But even still, they're less carbs, these Peppersmith ones. They are made of xylitol. I think it's xylitol that's in here. So you make sure you keep them away from your dogs. My dog would not be interested, I don't think, anyway. But for each piece of gum, it is 0.6, about 0.6 grams of carbs. So I'm really cutting down on how much gum I'm eating. I'm probably having 2 of these a day, and when my mouth feels really horrible, I will have 1 or 2 of these. Again, I'll talk about these in another video I intend doing about the bad taste in your mouth and what you can do about that. I am going to order the mints from Amazon as well, because these are the gum. I don't know what the carbs are in the mints, but you know, sometimes you just fancy a mint. Let me know, is anybody else the same as me and likes to constantly have mints and gum? Next are my evening savoury snack, and that's these. These have been the favourite thing. There's a couple of other things I like. I like the little Cathedral City cheese nibbles. That's actual cheese. Well, this is actual cheese as well, but sometimes salted peanuts. But these have been my favourite, and these are called Cheesies, and they're crunchy popped cheese. There is no carbs in these at all. I bought a selection pack, so it's got Gouda, cheddar and a mental. Neither myself or my husband like the Emmental ones. I like the Gouda, they're just a bit lighter, and he likes the cheddar ones, and they are just delicious. I'll show you what they look like. And you don't need many at all, they're just little bits like that. You don't need many at all, so you know, these packets are going to last you a long time. You have like probably a tablespoonful, and it's just enough to give you that, having something like salty snacks with a drink, you know. So I will have these at the weekend. I'll have a few with a Bacardi and Diet Coke in the evening. In fact, I do have them. I don't just have them when I'm drinking, I do have them at night. I'm definitely a snacker. Next is my 0 calorie syrup. I love this stuff, and you can see how much I love it because that is the bottom of the maple syrup one. I had been using, before this, I had been using Pure Via, which is erythritol that I buy from Sainsbury's, and that's just a granulated sweetener, and monk fruit, which both as nice, don't leave an aftertaste. But syrup wise, I bought some fibre syrup from Amazon thinking that it was okay carb wise. Yet another mistake I made, and it was lovely, but it wasn't low carb at all. So I saw these on Ginger Keto in the UK. She was talking about these, and I thought I would give them a go, and they are perfect. I use these I can use them in smoothies, although I've also got that St. Monin's caramel syrup, but I use these in coffee. I have never been one to drink coffee without some kind of sweetness, and I usually have agave when I'm not on keto, and so that's what I was trying to replicate by having the fibre syrup. So I have this now in my coffee. I just have 1 teaspoonful, and this has got 0 carbs, it's got 0 everything other than if you have like 100 grams, it's 4 calories, which I don't really get how something can have no calories, but there you go. This one is the maple flavour, and this one is the butterscotch flavour. I had this one in a smoothie this morning, just decided I really fancied a smoothie for breakfast, so I had some of this. I didn't taste much butterscotch, to be honest. With this one smells a bit like maple syrup, but not exactly. It smells more like burnt caramel to me. But this one, I can't really smell much at all. It's typical me, that. Butterscotch on my nose. Oh, do you know what? Now I can smell it. Now I've actually squirted some out. I can actually smell the butterscotch, but it didn't taste that much like butterscotch. But it is a sweetener that doesn't leave a horrible aftertaste and has got no carbs in it. So I don't think you can ask for much more than that. Now, I also wanted to use these instead of the granulated sweetener, the Pure Via, because that still has carbs in it. And I use that in those shortbread biscuits, and I use it on my morning granola that I usually have. So I thought I would try this instead. And so I used this for my granola, and it's absolutely fine in my granola instead of the sweetener. I used it in the coconut shortbread biscuits, and it's rubbish. They were like soggy. They came out crispy, but then when they cooled down they were soggy and didn't taste of anything. They didn't taste sweet at all. It was just a really weird chewy texture. So these don't work for those those shortbread biscuits. They will have to be with granulated sweetener, but I'll continue to use it in my granola because it just reduces the carbs, which is brilliant. I originally bought the maple syrup one to try with chaffles because you can make sweet chaffles, but I could still taste the egg, and yeah, I just didn't love it that way. You know, I did pour maple syrup over it. So if you want to make chaffles, sweet chaffles, and use maple syrup or butterscotch syrup, they would be good. Final thing to talk about is bread. I feel like I could not live without bread on a keto diet or any diet, and so I found several ways of getting around that. One of them is by making bread, as you saw from my video, and I really did love that. But there's two other types of bread that I use. The first one is this is the Profusion protein bread, organic rye and flax. This one, however, is the higher carb one, in that it has 7 grams of carbs per slice. But we have this for dinner where I'll have an egg with lots of butter on this, 1 slice. You don't need more than 1 slice. It's really, really chewy. And I'll have a poached egg or 2 poached eggs on this for dinner. Or I might just cut it and have just half of this with some butter and Marmite on or something like that. I don't have it that often. I don't have this one that often because it's, like I said, it is a little bit higher carbs being 7, but it is great as a replacement for bread. The other one that I use is called Livlife bread, and it's in my freezer. And I've got a loaf and a half in my freezer, and they're much smaller. They're like little mini slices, but that is, I think, maybe 4 grams of carbs, maybe even 3, and it's delicious, and it's more like real bread. The Livlife bread is more like normal bread, and again, I'll sometimes have that with a poached egg on it, or just butter. If I'm really in a rush, I can grab a piece out of the freezer, pop it in the toaster, put some butter on it, butter and cheese, and that's me had lunch, you know, if I'm in a rush, like I say. And you wouldn't think of buying this stuff on Amazon, and it's not one you need to buy specifically, you know, you don't need to do a grocery haul or anything. I can't remember if you can buy them singly. I definitely buy them in packs. But when you work it out, they're not, like the Livlife bread, I think it works out £2 or £3 a loaf, which, considering you can freeze them, is actually not a problem. But if you don't want to buy them from Amazon, the Livlife bread is sold in Waitrose. That's everything for my favourite keto snacks, Amazon keto stuff. I will do another one definitely talking about my favourite meals, and I've got on my list to do one that is kind of favourite keto dupes, I guess you'd call them. So like how to have fish and chips, how to have spaghetti bolognese, etc, etc. But I've still got a few more things to try before I do that video. So let me know what your keto favourites are, and if you buy anything from Amazon food-wise that you love, and I will speak to you again soon.